Welcome to the Pit Village Podcast. Here we are, we're going to try and keep this consistent, keep it flowing twice a week, 3 times a week with an interview included. If you are looking to be interviewed, we're a business mental health podcast, so if you run your own small business, or of course, if you've got any connection to the mental health, staying well and staying sane, if you're an author, if you're a mental health practitioner, if you work with people, if you're a life coach, whatever it is you may be, get in touch. It's interviews@pitvillagepodcast.co.uk. Now, today I'm going to talk about confronting the truth. So, I've got back to work and business is good. I had around 6 weeks off due to a physical health issue, and essentially I've come back and my customers are still there. It's a miracle. I self-imploded essentially, a little bit of a self-destructive couple of weeks, but thankfully I've created myself a business that actually, it works. I've got a retained customer base and it keeps me going, and I feel good because I'm back at it. I'm updating the websites, I'm back in touch with all my customers, and I'm just getting a feel for where everybody is and how I can help, and of course looking at expanding the business. But I do have some challenges in scaling this company, and you may be in the same situation yourself. You may be in a job, you may run a business, and you may be hitting a limit of where you can get to at the moment. I mean, without bringing somebody on and hiring a team and going through the process of, really establishing a business, I can't really grow this company anymore. If I do, I'm going to be overwhelmed again. And it's a shame, really, that I can't take any more work on at the moment. So I've got to look at some of these fundamentals within my business, whether it's registering a limited company, getting contracts in place, again, hiring somebody so I can expand and build a team, maybe getting an office, or maybe allowing them to work from home. It's all up in the air at the moment, and the vision is blurred. And what I've had to do is sort of sit down and really think what I want over the long term, because there is opportunity costs whenever you're pursuing something. There's an opportunity cost to that. So let's say you're building a business at the moment. Of course, you're only focusing on one thing. It's not really... Hard work is important, but the most important thing is actually what you're working towards and what you're working on and who you're working with. So without maybe a co-founder and going into business with somebody else where you can complement the skills, you're both equally invested, and you're keeping, each other motivated and sort of working towards a shared goal, I don't think you can really, build something. If you look at any company that has done well, whether it's in the tech space, the startups that become PayPal, whatever it may be, that were founded by like 5 people. But even small businesses and, small to medium companies, they usually got a couple of directors, a couple of people that were there when it started, who's grown this from the ground up. Rarely is it just one person, actually, let's be honest, that creates something outside of themselves. Fair enough, you can create a self-employed role for yourself as an entrepreneur that keeps you paid and in a life, but to create something outside of yourself that exists without you, and of course sort of take responsibility for other people's wage and their livelihood, that is another step that we need to be cognizant of, and it requires different skills. So if you are out there and, you've built a team, I'd love to hear from you. Again, we're looking to do interviews, so please get in touch. I'd love to know how you took it from being yourself, a company that is just you, to expanding upon that and bringing somebody in, because that first hire and hiring somebody, I've not got past that roadblock at the moment. I'm interviewing people, so if you are looking for a job within the digital marketing space, I'm based in Leeds, just get in touch and I'll gladly have a chat. It's Carl with a K at prospect27.co.uk. But think about the opportunity costs of what you're pursuing at the moment. Actually, I don't know whether my heart is sort of in this. My head certainly is, and I want to grow the business and obviously see where I can take things, because I do believe that misery comes from unfulfilled potential and ideas. So if you've got something that you're building on, don't give up. Definitely keep going. But where is my heart at the moment? Clearly, I've opened a podcast and I pay a lot of attention to the content creation space. And just look at Mr. Beast. he will most probably be the first person to take his brand public as an IPO, where people buy percentages of his company, and of course, it's sort of a trading as a stock. And that's where the content creation space is going at the moment. We did an episode on the attention economy, and of course, we're moving into that slowly but surely. This is becoming more of an attention economy. I do believe in the future you will be paid for watching advertisements online. That's where the future is. We're moving towards a little bit of a draconian, nightmare, if I'm honest with you. And these are the words of Boris Johnson at the moment with the lockdowns and the vaccines and the coronavirus strains that are being reported on the news. He says any further strains are going to be met with draconian measures, which means excessively harsh in their application about laws. That is the definition of draconian. So it's in relation to laws, excessively harsh or excessive. Something like that. So, what is it that we need draconian measures for? Why? I mean, let's be honest. I'm not anti-vaccine. I went for a vaccination on Saturday. It wasn't the coronavirus one. It was a tetanus booster jab. And I'll be honest with you, I've not been right since. Since I've had that jab, I've not been right. I've not been off the toilet. My stomach's killing. My throat's swelled up. And I'm looking online. It's like it can cause serious problems for people. The tetanus booster jab. And I wish I'd have looked at that before I went and took it at the doctor's, because they didn't mention any of these side effects to me. Basically, I got bit by a dog. So I felt the need to go get this jab. And it's destroyed me. It's put me out for the week. So, yeah. Why would we need draconian measures moving forward? Is it not been draconian enough over the last year? Do you not think? We've been trapped, haven't we, really, in a bid for his freedoms. And it looks like now, in fact, if you've not been vaccinated with the coronavirus vaccine, then you're going to be, let's say, you're not going to have the full freedoms that the vaccinated people may have. And it's a little bit sad, really, isn't it, when we're causing this divide within the public that, if you have had a vaccination, then therefore you will be granted your freedoms. And if you choose not to have a vaccination, you could be losing your job, not be allowed to go abroad, and a whole lot of other stuff that they may actually not grant you access to do. My biggest fear is that you'll not be on public transport and I'll not be able to go on trains and all this sort of stuff if indeed I don't have the coronavirus vaccine. Which, again, I'm not anti-vaccine. I've just had a vaccine for the tetanus booster jab. I recognise that when I was a child, I had about 10 vaccines, and I'm still alive. But it just doesn't sit well with me, the fact that it's been developed so quick. It's a different type of vaccine. If you look into the spike proteins that actually the vaccine causes, that is causing these blood clots in people, and we're actually administering the Johnson & Johnson vaccine here in the UK, whereas Denmark's just said that they're not doing, they're not going to be utilising that vaccine anymore due to the adverse effects. And it's been banned all across the world. So, really important topic there, I think. Would you accept the vaccine at the moment? Have you already had the vaccine? Did it make you feel bad? Leave us a comment, leave us a reply, get in touch, and let us know how you feel after you've had the coronavirus vaccine. The economy. It's in free fall at the moment, if I'm completely honest. Inflation is rocketing. So that means the price of your goods are going to go up. And this is just the tax that is going to come from printing lots of money from the central bank. Whenever the central bank prints money, particularly when they give it to people, ordinary people, average people, i.e. through the furlough scheme or through this, self-employment sort of payments that people have been getting, that's going to deflate the value of your money because there's more money in circulation. There is the same amount of goods and the same amount of supply, the same amount of demand, but there's actually more money in circulation. So it makes sense, doesn't it, that if there's the same amount of goods out there, the same amount of supply out there for them goods, the same amount of demand for them goods, but there's more money going around, the money becomes less valuable. So when you see prices of things going up, let's not be too, ignorant to the fact that they've just printed all this money into the economy. So that was inevitable. That was going to happen. It was guaranteed to happen. And they knew that. They knew what they were doing. And actually, it's great for the country because we're in over £1 trillion worth of debt. So if they devalue the price of the pound, their debt becomes less. So if you're in debt at the moment, it may be a good time for you. But if you've got savings and if you've got money, I'd look at utilising that money somewhere else, invest it in your business. I'd invest it in gold. A lot of people are in crypto at the moment, but actually over the last 24 hours, Bitcoin went down about £10,000. And it's a very speculative market. They did it with tulips back in the 1600s. A tulip become worth more than a house just because there were what called the tulip craze, and everybody just sort of went mad over these tulips until eventually they realised, you know what, these are just flowers and they're worthless. And the price dropped and a lot of people lost their money and obviously, lost a house. A tulip were worth more than a house in the 1700s when this happened. And that's all, the only thing that's happening with Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies is I am going to buy it today, hoping that somebody buys it in the future at a higher price. And of course, that is not going to happen continuously. I am 100% behind cryptocurrencies. I mean, if you look at the first white paper from Bitcoin, it said that if Bitcoin become the, only currency in the world, each coin would have a value of around £10 million. So to say that it started at a couple of pence, and even in 2013 it was like £20-30, went up to £1,000, back down to 200. We had a big boom in 2017, it went to £20,000 Bitcoin, and it fell back. It fell back down to around £2,000 by 2019. And this year, everybody thinks that cryptocurrencies is new. I mean, I've got a friend who's investing in these. He blames me for the fact that he was listening to Peter Schiff and about gold and about these other things like 15 months ago for him not making money in cryptocurrencies in the last 6 months. It's like, how did my perspective in February of last year, March of last year, ruin your chances of getting rich in crypto? Actually, it didn't, but what you found is that you don't know nothing about this cryptocurrency market. Like 95% of investors at the moment, you're gambling, you're looking to get rich quick, and actually, you don't realise that if you do make money off this cryptocurrency, that it's just pot luck. And you can say cryptos are great while you're making money, and you can feel as though you're really smart when you're making money in cryptos, but when you lose money in cryptos, does that mean you're dumb? And would that make you unhappy? Because professional traders would not be emotionally attached to their portfolio. It would be an investment that is based upon the long term, and usually with a company that is making money, that is producing assets. So if you own a house, for instance, and you rent it out, you are making money on that asset. So you want an income producing asset. And Bitcoin is not that. Cryptocurrencies are not that. They may be a store of value, but really what they are is a speculative bubble in which people are trying to get rich. And people say, oh, it's a new thing, and it's not a new thing. Bitcoin was invented in 2009. It's a 12-year-old technology, which is obviously still in its infancy, but we're going through sort of a dot-com boom at the moment, like they did in 2000. And a lot of these cryptocurrencies that you see today will not exist tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, but let's say in 5 years. It'll be a completely different market. And more than likely, it's going to go to zero. A lot of these currencies will go to zero. And it's going to pop before we have another bull market in another bull run with the cryptocurrencies. And I've lost money in this space simply because I've not I've not took the initiative to get invested early. Like when I first learned about cryptocurrencies, 2013, 2014, even 2015, 2016, and in 2017, I've, missed out every opportunity that you could imagine in this market, just as everybody has. And we can all sit back and think, oh my God, if I'd invested in this, who cares? Like, are you building a business? Are you building something for the long term? Are you building something with cash flow? Doesn't matter how much money you make, you're going to spend it. Particularly if you're not used to having money, because you don't know how to manage money. So if you suddenly earn £100,000, trust me, that's going to be spent. You're not going to invest that wisely if you get rich quick. You're going to spend it, you're going to splurge it, and you're going to be in a much worse situation then, because you'll be resentful about yourself because you've had money, you've spent it, and now you think that, what's the point in making any more money? It'll take you years to recover from that. And I've seen that with personal friends that have saved a lot of money, spent it all, and it's sort of, you can see that it takes them for, it sort of shocks them, the fact that, oh my God, I've made all this money, but I've spent it all, and, it doesn't make you feel good. So yeah, we've got the crypto market imploding and the public mania at the moment about investments. Everybody is an investor today. They're all investing in stocks, cryptos, not looking at the fundamentals, not looking at how can I do this for the long term, just actually feeding into the rally of this. And of course, with all the free money that's going around, people have got spare money to be, investing and trying to get rich. And this is what happens in every bubble. People try and get rich to think that they're making money, but then they're left holding the bag at the end when everything collapses, because they're not investors. They're not doing this long term. They haven't been doing this for 10 years. They don't know the markets. They don't know how to calculate a good investment. They're just, opening an app on the phone, putting some money in and thinking that they're smart because they're making a couple of quid. So that's going to end badly for many people. And where I see the crypto market going, it's a decentralized currency, cryptocurrencies. They are decentralized, meaning that they're anonymous. The government hasn't got no, hold on them. There's no central bank that controls the currency and how much is printed. And actually, there's only going to be so many bitcoins printed into the market, so that sort of retains their value. It's not like the US dollar or the UK pound, in which they can keep printing and giving away to people for free, which is going to devalue the currency. It is not like that. There's only going to be 21 million bitcoins on the planet. And they did a white paper saying that each bitcoin would be worth £10 million if it indeed did become the currency of the world, based upon the net worth of the world, which is around $200 trillion. Each bitcoin would be worth £10 million. So that's very interesting, but where is the cryptocurrency going at the moment? And we can see that there's a sort of control of the perception on cryptos and everything. They're controlling our perception on everything with the news at the moment. Whether it be the lockdowns, the virus, crypto markets, they control our perception. Do not get it twisted. If they, didn't put this information out there, then a lot of these people who are investing in cryptocurrencies wouldn't be. If they didn't put the information out there, then a lot of people wouldn't be stuck in the homes and accepting the lockdown. If they didn't feed us with the right amount of propaganda to get us interested in the first place, then how would we even know about this? Because in all honesty, I do believe that the decentralized currencies, Bitcoin and all these things, have been hijacked by these crypto whales, which are institutional investors, that they get involved at the right time. When they pull their money out, they pull their money out. And I think that what were happening yesterday. A lot of institutional investors are now going back into gold. So that's having another bull run at the moment. So hopefully we cross the $2,000 mark and we see gold actually get in line with where it should be, because they manipulate all these markets. Don't get it twisted. People who feel like they're investing at the moment, and particularly if you're investing in cryptos, is it a better store of value than cash? Most probably, because your cash at the moment is just being devalued. But it's not a better store of value than investing in your business, investing in yourself, investing in new skills. And that's where most people should be. We should be learning skills that is going to allow us to prosper in the future. We need to learn the skills today that's going to allow us to survive tomorrow. And unfortunately, the skills that we've got today, for me, that's website design and sales and building this little business. I don't think that that's going to serve me in 5 years. I'm truly I'm aware of places like Wix and these other, institutions that allow you to create your own website. But I know in the next 5 years, there's going to be a, easy, cheap place to go create a very professional website. Maybe it's created by AI. And that's going to eliminate my job, unfortunately. I'm already in a saturated market. There's a million website designers out there. I can't really differentiate myself. But what I can do is differentiate myself in this market. Because as I said, my heart may not be in this company at the moment. I'm thinking about other things. I'm thinking about the opportunity costs. Hence, I've got this podcast. We're talking about these topics. And I want to bring somebody on. I want to bring somebody on the podcast permanently as a co-host. But now, I watch a lot of content creators in the podcasting space, whether it be Charlemagne, Andrew Schultz, Jason Kalanassis, who does the All In podcast with Chamath, and, is it David Freenberg? There's basically a couple of business podcasts that I listen to, a couple of comedy podcasts that I listen to, a couple of sort of sports podcasts that I listen to sometimes. Particularly the boxing ones, True Geordie and whatnot. So it's a very interesting space at the moment, and you can look at the outliers and the top earners, and it shocks you. Go and look at the top 10 podcasts in the world, and it's 8 of them you probably never heard of. Obviously, there's Joe Rogan, there's Tim Dillon, there's Andrew Schultz, but then there's the Murder Mysteries podcast, and these other sort of very obscure niche podcasts. True Crime Obsessed is one that I think, but one that I do watch is the Joe Budden Podcast, and it's been going down in flames over the last couple of weeks. His 2 co-hosts, who are his friends, have actually left him, saying that he's stealing from them. He's then defended himself and fired them on air, and come out then with a couple of other good episodes. He had a meltdown basically on an episode, shouting and screaming, firing his co-hosts and friends on air. They've then come out with a response video. So he's come out very candidly and said, look, yeah, you may be right, but we can't fix this situation anymore. You don't trust me. I'm going to move on with this. He's brought 2 new co-hosts on, his other friends, and it was a little bit of a sticky situation. For him, he's had to explain himself out of this. He runs a network, and he's got another podcast on there called See the Thing Is, with 3 women. One of them women has left that podcast as well, and during all of this, she's come out and accused him of sexual assault, which I thought he were going to hide away from. I did not expect him to come out sort of guns blazing and handle it so well. He did a podcast yesterday, which I really appreciated. He sort of took responsibility for this, as much as a man would, I guess, and just spoke about mental health. He had a therapist on one of the podcasts that he did, and, it was really refreshing to see somebody who has been accused of not being a leader and not, being there for his team, to take responsibility and say, look, maybe I need a general manager, maybe I need to hire somebody, maybe we need a wellness team, maybe we need to be looking at this stuff even more. I accept that I've not done the best that I can. And it was really refreshing, but it's made me consider, do I bring a friend on to this podcast? I've been in discussions with a friend to have him on as a regular guest on this podcast, so we can go back and forth, get a couple of topics, and I've got another perspective then to be bouncing off with. I think, a solo podcast is very hard, particularly if you're unknown, and I'm nobody. I just run a little small business at the end of the day. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a comedian. I've not got a following that's going to automatically attach yourselves to this podcast. So it's really interesting. Just have a think about it. Would you go into business with your friend? Have you been into business with your friend? How did that work out? If there is any stories, definitely write a comment. I'd love to hear your experience of working with friends in business, because it can be really hard. I tried to bring a friend on to this company when I first started, and it was just, I was putting all the work in, and then I'd get on the phone with him and he'd be like, oh, we've got 3 clients now. And I'd be thinking, well, no, I've got 3 clients. You've not actually done anything at the moment. And then as the business continued to grow, he sort of, got a job and did his own thing. And thankfully, I kept this to myself and sort of built it on my own. Thankfully, in that it didn't cause a strain between me and the friend. And also, I've proven to myself that I can do it. It's more about the experience. I don't earn a lot of money. I earn enough just to live month to month, hand to mouth. But I earn enough to live. That is a great point, because going back to when I first tried to start a business in 2017, I earned enough to live for a couple of months, and then it all failed on me, and I lost everything. I had to give up my house, split it with a partner, all that sort of stuff, move back in with the parents. I lost everything, and it wasn't good. So I learned from that, and I built a business that had a better foundation. Like I say, I've had a couple of months off, and my customers are still here. Thank you to everybody that's trusted me with the website and that appreciates the product that I provided. The website, email servers, website hosting, domain name, all for £30 a month, no setup fees, prospect27.co.uk. So where does this podcast go long term? I wanted to bring somebody on. I wanted to have a conversation, a dialogue between me and somebody else twice a week, and, really spice this up, go for longer, talk about a couple of topics. That is generally what podcasts do. I've gone against that, and that may not be the route that I want to take, but I am looking at some podcast segments. You notice that this week I've been talking about things that are relevant to this week, whether it be the Bitcoin or the Joe Budden Podcast, things that have just happened in the last couple of days. I want to maybe integrate some of that and look at the current news. I don't want to focus too much on that, because I don't think that is, sort of, if I talk about something that's happening today in the news, why would you want to listen about that in 2 weeks? I want somebody to be able to come back to this podcast, listen to, one of the episodes, any episode, and take something out of that at any point in their life, whether it is the episodes on getting a job and, building a business, and the first couple of ones that I did on bereavement and mental health. And then, of course, some of the more obscure topics that I tackled in March. Whether it's gratitude or paradigms or sacrifice, these are like evergreen content. This is stuff that people could listen to at any point in their life and relate to it. And I think you need a mixture of both. So we've got 7 days in the week. I can produce 3 podcasts a week quite easily. So let's try and do that. And eventually this will become more of an interviewing platform. I'm in touch with a couple of people at the moment. They're really busy. And we're going to get some dates arranged for July, hopefully, in regards to just getting a load of interviews done. I've got a couple lined up for for May. So hopefully we can get those recorded, get those out there, and really build something up on this. I want to start creating a documentary about reopening in Leeds, and particularly the homeless, and just a couple of other things. I want to start, doing some creative videos and putting my perspective out there into the world, and again, interviewing people and having in-depth conversations and learning better communication skills. And it's all about sort of the introspection for myself and being able to use this as a little bit of a therapy chair. I sit here, I air everything out that I want to talk about. Sometimes I won't release it, and sometimes I will. And the evolution of this is to become more structured, to have a little bit more of a, regular schedule, whether it's twice or 3 times a week, and to interview some more interesting people. I've got one coming out with a copywriter, which is, it's a great interview. I've just re-listened to it back. We talk about him going from a sort of small little business and getting started to where he is today, to, looking at hiring a team and his sort of next steps. And of course, copywriting and how that can help your business. So very interesting conversation, and I want to have more like that. So if you are looking to be interviewed, it's interviews@pitvillagepodcast.co.uk. Once again, thank you for your time. We've covered getting back to business, and it feels great to be updating those websites and sort of reconnecting with the customers after a little bit of a break from the company and from work. Expanding the business and the challenges that you've got in scaling, and the opportunity costs that actually pursuing the current goal that you've got is going to, what are the opportunity costs? What are you missing out on? What else could you be doing? Is your heart actually in what you're doing at the moment? Or are you like me? Do you want to focus on content creation, podcasting, and maybe, filming a documentary and doing creative things? The economy, the crypto market, the public mania, we spoke about the economy and the unemployment and mental health on the last couple of episodes, and I think it's going to have a real impact over the next couple of years. I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to get some more customers. I'm going to probably move back to the Pit Village. Of course, I've moved to Leeds since I launched this podcast. I've moved to Leeds city centre, and it's very weird. I've never been in a city centre before. I'm from a very small village, and the heightened perception and awareness and anxiety that you face from being in a city centre is something that I was not used to. It's great when I'm working, but actually when I want to chill out and have some leisure time, I can't do that when I'm here, to be honest with you. I'm going back to the village today. I've only been at home for 4 days out of the month. I've been at home this week. That's it. It's Thursday and I'm going back to the village. So I've literally done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm off back, and I'm not bothered. I'm going to keep this as a little bit of a creative space. I've done a lot of writing over the last couple of days. I'm looking at writing my own book essentially. So yeah, I implore you to do the same. Evolve what you're doing. Look at what you're doing. Look at what you want to be doing, and do the things that you want to do. Because at the end of the day, if my heart's not in it and I'm not going to get on the phone and constantly grow this business and look at, becoming the best in the field, then what is the point? What I want to do is actually become the best in this field, whether it's podcasting, shooting documentaries, or indeed maybe hosting other podcasts and building a little bit of a network over time. And I know that that's going to take a long time, and it's about splitting up my energy between my current business, my future business, and my current creative endeavours, such as podcasting and documentary filming and all the stuff that I want to do. So I implore you to do the same. What are you doing at the moment? Is that feeding your long-term goal? Is that feeding your creativity and allowing you to be spontaneous and do things that actually inspire you, inspire yourself? Because as much as we can be inspired by others, actually, if we do the right thing and we work towards our potential and we try to be our better selves just for the moment, then that may be an inspiring moment in our lives when we raise our own standard and we say, look, I am capable of this. I am capable of building a business. I am capable of taking on the risk. I am capable of taking on the responsibility of a house, paying all the bills, creating a podcast. Whatever I want to do, I can do it. And you are the same. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. We're confronting the truth today. And one of the major truths that you've got to confront is that, in fact, one day you are going to die. So we're all heading to the same place. What are you going to do with the time that you've got while you're here that is going to be meaningful to you? So you're going to die one day. Let's confront that truth. And then that may allow you to confront the other truths, the things that you're running away from when you're staring at your phone, when you're smoking the cigarette, when you're taking, the shot of vodka. Whatever you're doing to avoid what you want to be doing, to avoid confronting the truth about who you really want to be and allowing yourself not to actually partake in that ideal self, in that, progression and evolution of your own character. So thanks a lot for your time. I think we're done. We're confronting the truth, the fact that one day you are going to die, the fact that there is an opportunity cost to what you're doing at the moment, and the fact that most likely you're not doing the things that make you happy, that make you feel satisfied, and that make you evolve and grow as a person. So let's do those things. All the best. Have a great day. It's a Pit Village podcast. Get in touch if you fancy being interviewed. Once again, it's interviews@pitvillagepodcast.co.uk. All the best. Bye.